¿Cómo se dice mariposa en inglés? You say lift or elevator. ¿Seguro? Of course, you see. Both go floor to floor. Para fiestas y posadas.
Welcome! So today, for this video, I have three terms for you. So one term is gringo, the other one is gabacho, and the other one is pocho. So gringo, gabacho, pocho. So these are the three. So we're going to talk a little bit about origin, usage, and I'm going to make some commentary as well as to things that make me chuckle as far as the use. Gringo and gabacho, depending on where you are from, you might think, for example, if you're from the U.S., you might think, oh yeah, gringo, that's the white boy from wherever in the United States, refers to whites. And that's something that I've heard, and it makes me chuckle a little, but not quite. And then some people will debate the origin, and there are so many fascinating, just false etymologies, but these stories are so cute. They truly are. So some people will say, well, gringo makes sense because it comes from the color green, from when individuals had their cattle and they were, taking their cattle to green pastures. So it's like, go to the green, gringo, go over there. That's not true, and it holds no substance. The other one, some individuals will say, well, when the United States invaded Mexico, 1846, Mexicans were probably hearing U.S. commanders say, green, go, because of their green uniforms. Well, the thing is that the American soldiers used blue uniforms. Green wasn't very common. It was actually the Mexican troops that would have been using green. So that one doesn't hold substance either. And the other thing too is that war started in 1846. This term appears in the dictionary of terreros in 1787. So this term is much older than that. The other interesting thing too is this term comes from Cuba to Mexico from 1760 to about 1764. This is around the time frame when it arrives, when foreign troops, so troops from Europe, arrive in Cuba, and then from Cuba into what is now known as Mexico during this period of time. So again, does not hold substance. Gringo, it's just a foreigner. That's the original usage. So yes, if you are in North America, gringo will generally be used for people of Anglo-Saxon descent. So United States, Anglo-Saxon heritage, for example. And we're just generalizing with that term groups of people. We talk about, those white guys from the north. All right. We'll go with that for now. But if you go to Argentina, gringo refers to the Italians, so the Italian immigrants. There's also a term called Las Pampas Gringas, and Las Pampas, these are the Great Plains of Argentina. Fun little facts there. So if you're an individual that has been called gringo 20 billion times, that'll be fascinating, because if you've been called this in the US and you're in the US, you're not a foreigner. So go figure. Whoever called you has no clue what the origin is. Now if you go to Mexico, then yes, you would be a foreigner. So perhaps that's why it started being used for Americans, because they were the foreigners that were invading Mexico. So that's a possibility. But in this point in time, you're no longer a foreigner. Although I'm not rejecting semantic extension or semantic shift for the purpose of this. I'm just giving you the history, the origin, and what that word refers to in a way that makes sense in the general scope. Because if you just say, well, it's those Anglos from the US, what does it mean in Argentina then? If you're talking about Italians, that doesn't fit. So that's the reason why. So gringo historically has just been a term used to refer to foreigners. The origin was disputed for a long period of time. It was agreed that it probably came from the concept of Greek. For example, the English expression, it is all Greek. to me, meaning I don't understand it, might as well be Greek. So if you think of Griego, Greek, or El Greco, if you're familiar with El Greco's art, they think that Gringo might be a variation of Greek. But that is no longer the case. That's no longer accepted. So the origin is considered unknown as of now. But historically, if you go through written documents and usage, it's used as a foreigner. So after Wars of Independence, for example, 1830, immigration into the Americas increased after the wars, and this term started gaining more popularity. So popularity went down and then it came back up. Now, if you're familiar with the work or the work Martín Fierro, in this poem there are a lot of mentions of gringo, and this is from 1872. So keep that in mind as well. Now we have over here Gabacho. Gabacho, some people will say, oh, that's just a white guy from the US. No, originally it was actually used for French, toward the French. So this is the interesting thing. This was used in Spain, that was used in Spain too. Now, where it comes from, well, we don't know. Maybe it's Catalan, I don't know. Maybe it comes from French. Who knows? But the consensus is that it's related to goiter, which is caused by a vitamin deficiency, mainly vitamin C, which will provoke a stutter. So where this one generally refers to a foreigner who does not speak Spanish or does not speak it in a way that can be understood, this refers to somebody who speaks broken Spanish or cannot be understood. So let's just say you do happen to be that, I don't know, individual from the United States. In the United States, well, you're not a foreigner, and let's just say you speak beautiful Spanish. You can be understood quite easily, and it's not broken. Which is why I chuckle whenever I hear, say, somebody of Mexican descent who does not speak Spanish or speaks broken Spanish call gringo or gabacho, calls an individual from the United States who, let's just say it's a white Anglo-Saxon from the US, who speaks beautiful Spanish, when that individual does not. And that will lead me to this term in a bit, but let's finish this one off. So gabacho, this term appears in the Dictionary of Authorities, Diccionario de Autoridades, in Spanish, so in the Spanish language, in 1734, and it is believed that this term has existed since the 16th century. Long before the United States declared its independence. The United States wasn't even a part of anybody's imagination yet, if we go by this. Here, a few people probably, but not many, maybe. So those are some of the things to consider. Now, why related to goiter and this stuttering? So one of the things that happens is if you go to southern France, now in France, gabache is many times used to refer to people from, say, some northern cities perhaps, or people from high altitudes, from highlands, such as the Pyrenees. So the Pyrenees are southern France, between France and Spain. And what would happen is the following. People would have their pilgrimages from crossing the Pyrenees all the way through northern Spain for Santiago, headed to Santiago de Compostela. So in the process, you get these individuals crossing over, vitamin C deficiency, they stutter, it's very difficult to understand them, you cannot understand them. So, gabacho, can't understand broken Spanish, that's who you are, gabacho. So this was actually a term given or used to refer to French people, actually, that would cross over and do that. No Anglos. So go figure that. Now, why do I chuckle a little? It's very interesting. We have this other term, pocho. Pocho just refers to spoiled edibles, spoiled food. Pocho is a term that many Mexicans started using to refer to other Mexicans or people of Mexican descent who spoke broken Spanish or didn't speak Spanish, or they were now foreigners because now they're in the US rather than in Mexico. And part of the reason why maybe they use this term, which means spoiled food, is probably because some of maybe animosity from US conflicts with Mexico. One of them being 1846. After this war concluded, keep in mind, Mexico lost over half of its territory to the United States. And 1914, United States invades the ports of Veracruz. So there's probably some animosity there. So if you were, for example, of Mexican descent and you were born in the US, or you were of Mexican descent, you live in the US, regardless of whether you were born, and you spoke, so born in the US, I guess you're now a foreigner in Mexico, you're a gringo, right? And you speak broken Spanish or no Spanish, so they can't understand you. Gabacho. You were called a pocho. So a pocho is pretty much a Mexican who is a gringo or gabacho, or a Mexican who has become gabacho, meaning broken Spanish, or in the US now. That's why I think it's funny. Now keep in mind that that's just an opinion, and opinions do change, so maybe in the future with more information, etc., my opinion might change, but as of now I still think it's sort of cute and funny, and it does make me chuckle. But now you know what these terms are, what they mean, their origin in a sense, so next time you hear them you can decide to chuckle a little as well, or if you're the individual who is not Hispanic but speaks beautiful Spanish, you can say, wait, hold on, we're in the US, I'm not actually a foreigner, or we're in England, I'm no longer a foreigner, or wherever. My Spanish is not broken either, and you can understand me quite well. Therefore, that does not fit me. What about you? So anyway, that being said, I really do hope you like this. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.